Good morning, everyone. I want to share with you a topic that is near and dear to my heart and that I think is going to impact you and your business. Because today we're talking all about how you can build a business and start a business or pivot your business if you need to be more focused around you. Now, as Christians, this isn't all about you. This is really ultimately all about what God is inviting you into. But there are some things that we can do that make building a business more fun and more focused on what we love and what we're really good at. Because here's what ultimately happens when we start a business, and I see this all the time online, is that people start a business with a logo or a website or on social media because it's fun. But that is a problem, and I'm going to tell you why. The other thing that happens is that people start by focusing on the end, where they want to end up, which isn't always bad, but they focus on what everyone is telling them to do instead of focusing on some of these other things that we're going to talk about today. So, what's at stake when you are not building a business around you and what God is asking you to do and inviting you into? Well, you build a business that ultimately doesn't have a clear audience or a clear problem that you solve or a clear framework. And so that means you are going to be constantly fighting against your business and feeling misaligned with your business, because here's the business you've created and here's you and everything you love and you're passionate about and you're good at, and it just never clicks because you started at the end, you started with a logo, you're doing what everybody else is telling you to do, and you're not focusing on you and what your unique offerings are. You're going to be working more hours than you want to try to figure it all out because there's this misalignment. You're not going to be able to speak to specific audiences. The other thing that happens is that when you don't really focus on these things that you should be, you start to realize that there are specific audiences with specific problems that require you to do things that you when you might not be available or not want to. So here's a couple of examples of that. One is I was recently talking to a photographer who started out doing all kinds of photography, which is not a bad thing. I think sometimes at the beginning you do have to try some things to see what you really do like. But what she found was she was doing newborns, families, seniors, all of these things. Well, when are those people available? Those people are available on nights and weekends. Well, when did she want to be home? She wanted to be home on nights and weekends with her family, not with other people's families. Well, she's a photographer and she wanted to be doing all of these things, but it wasn't matching with what the lifestyle was that she wanted to be living, which was working during school hours and being home on nights and weekends. And so she was misaligned in her business and she needed to find a way to become more aligned with what she was doing with where she wanted to ultimately be. Another example, which might be a little bit silly, but another example might be, let's say that you're a baker and you bake wedding cakes and you love to bake wedding cakes. But the wedding season, when you're really busy and working all of those hours, is during the summer when your kids are home and you want to be home with your kids. Well, baking wedding cakes might not be the audience that you actually want to work for and with. You might love brides, but maybe that's not the best way to build your business because you want to be home with your kids. Certain audiences have certain demands and hours and things that they need at times when you might not want to be available. Another example might be is I love to work with people who are just starting out in their business. Well, one of the things that happens when people are first starting out in their business is they're probably working another job. And so they aren't available during the day. They are available in the evenings and on weekends. Well, I don't want to be working at that time. So I might have some misalignment in my business until I figure out how to solve that problem. Maybe that's recording videos and sending them out via email versus doing them live on nights and weekends. There are solutions to these things, but when we don't solve that problem, we find ourselves really misaligned. I imagine it almost like two magnets that are the same end. They're both south poles and they're just repelling. And no matter what you do, you're never going to be able to actually get them to connect. So the other thing that happens is with this misalignment, this not non-connection in your business is you start to suffer from imposter syndrome. Because you're pretending to do something that you either can't because you're doing what everybody else is telling you should do, or you feel this imposter syndrome because you're always trying to keep up with something that you just don't want to be doing. And ultimately, in the end, you don't serve anyone well, yourself, your family, your business. And that means you aren't attracting clients and you aren't going to be making money in your business. And so this is a real problem if you aren't building your business around you and what you value and what your business should really be. And so what happens when you do? When you do figure out how to solve this problem of building a business around you? Well, first of all, you start to feel aligned, and that two south poles trying to attract now turn into a north and a south, and they can actually attract, and you just feel this alignment in your business. And I know that sounds a little woo woo and like out there, and I don't believe in all of that stuff, but there is a sense of, man, this is what God has asked me to do. I figured out how to make that work. And man, we're partnering together and this business just feels amazing and you can love what you do. You will also develop a really strong brand because it's you. It's about you and what you love and what you love doing. And people are attracted to that. You can also work less hours simply because the process just becomes easier. You're doing what you love, you're using your skills and abilities, so it takes less time and it just starts to flow. And so here are some ways, and I really had to limit myself this morning because as I was thinking about this, I was like, there's so many things that I do, especially in my program, the Do the Right Work program, that talks about this because I really just believe in this so strongly. But I've limited it to just 3 this morning. And so the 3 that I really help teach in order to help you build a business around you and your values is to first start with knowing your skills and abilities, not looking at what everybody else is saying. Maybe everybody else is saying, get on TikTok and make videos and make reels and be on Instagram. That's how you build your business. Well, that might not be your skill set and your abilities. Now, you do have to learn new things in your business for sure. That's not something you can avoid, but you don't want to be emphasizing the parts of you that just you're not good at that. That's not something that you want to be doing. You don't want to be singing and dancing on TikTok or whatever. I personally don't want to be on TikTok because of the app platform. And so you have to know your skills and abilities, what you love to do. And here's a little side note about this. A lot of times, I think, especially as Christian women in the church, we are told what we're good at and that there's only a limited amount of things that we can be good at: hospitality, teaching children, organizing. But I want to start to debunk that because we were given the spiritual gifts. There is no distinction in the Bible about who the gifts were given to. All people, men, women, anyone, everyone who calls upon the name of the Lord is given a gift, and we can have any of them. There's no limitation in the Bible on what spiritual gifts you can receive. And so don't just think about what you were told you're good at, but what do you love to do? What can you not help but do when you are out in the world? Use those God-given skills and abilities. So one of the ways that I've seen this play out is that people come in, they want to start a business, and they look at what everybody else is telling them to do, like my example of being on TikTok and reels, and that's the only way to build an audience. Well, I had a client come into my business and to get some help starting her business. And she was really focused on some of the things I think she had always been told she was good at doing. And I stepped back and I said, hey, what I see that you're really good at doing is nurturing people, having conversations. You actually have a gift of chatting with people online, on social media, and building that relationship with them. You know how to foster a community in a Facebook group. You should create that. And she was like, I never thought of that. I thought everybody was good at that. I just thought that that was something that people did. And I was like, no, that's a gift for you. So build your business on that platform in that way, because that is something that you are really, really good at. And so that's a way that you can really focus on your skills and abilities and what God has given you the ability to do that differentiates you from everyone else. Not everyone that's in her niche can do that, but she can. She can do that really, really well. So make sure that you know your skills and abilities, what you love to do, what you don't love to do, and build your business around that. I do have some tools and resources available. I have a guide that you can use and also a complete inventory about how to discover what your skills and abilities are. I know from experience that I was told that I was good at a lot of things, which I was good at, but it wasn't my passion. It wasn't what I loved to do. But I thought because I had gotten all this affirmation about these things that I was good at, that I should be doing that. And over time, I've really found what my true superpower is, and I love to help other people do that too. And so if you are interested in the free guide or in the full complete inventory, then you can drop a comment below and I will get the link to you for that. The other part that you can do to help you build a business around you is to know your story. Our testimony and our story, what we have lived, our lived experience, the good, the bad, everything in between, everything we've experienced, I believe can be used in your business at some level. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're spilling your guts online and you're sharing all of your trauma and all of your heartache and all of that stuff. I don't believe in that. But I do believe in sharing your story and knowing your story and speaking from your scars. People use that term a lot, not your wounds. You're speaking from things that have been healed, that you've worked through, not things that are still raw and open and, still hurtful and painful. But sharing that story and knowing your story and how it differs from other people's story. For me, getting into the online business space is a great story. I was in education for 20 years. I thought I was going to be the principal of my school. That's what my plan was. I had that as my career long goal, to become a principal. And God said, "Hey, Sarah, you are worshiping the idol of work, and it's time to come home and be with your children." My children were in middle school at the time, and I didn't want to miss these years of high school. They're now in 8th and 10th grade. I didn't want to miss these years. I've got 3 years left with my oldest, and I didn't want to be working all these crazy hours serving other people's children, which I was good at, which I had always been told I was good at. But God said, "Hey, I've got a different plan for you. I want you to step here and use all those skills and abilities to serve me, to serve God in a different way." And I had to obey. That's my story. But what's your story? Where is your passion coming from? What have you experienced that drives you to want to start an online business? What you have to offer helps others. And that's where you should build your business, not what everybody else is saying to telling you to do. You should be doing what God has asked you to do. And He's told a story through you to help you help others. I read this morning, I wasn't planning on sharing this, but I read this morning on the YouVersion app. I use that to track I read the Bible through the Bible every year. So I use the app to help me track that. But the verse this morning was from Second Corinthians, and I love the message. And he says that God comes alongside us when we go through hard times, and before you know it, He brings us alongside someone else who is going through hard times, so that we can be there for that person just as God was there for us. We have plenty of hard times that come from following the Messiah, but no more so than the good times of His healing comfort. We will get a full measure of that too. God uses our story. He comes alongside us so that He can walk through us through the hard times. And then we can take what we've learned and experienced and know and are gifted at and walk alongside someone else. That is the body of Christ. That is what we are called to do. I wasn't planning on sharing that, but obviously I'm very passionate about that we aren't supposed to be a light that's hidden, that song, "This Little Light of Mine, I'm going to hide it under a bushel." No, we need to take our light and let it shine so that we can be blessing other people. And we can do that in the format of having an online business that actually serves other people and makes us money. That is not a bad thing. That's an amazing opportunity that we have, and you can build that kind of business. And then I believe there are 3 questions that you should answer before you really dive into your business, and it should be covered in prayer. Always pray first, because God wants to help you. And I use this verse all the time too, from James 1, 5 and 6, from the Message as well. If you don't know what to do, then pray to the Father in heaven and ask boldly, ask strongly and believingly, because He will answer you. He wants to help you. And so we're going to ask Him for His help to answer these 3 questions. What problem do I solve for people? And that comes from our story and our gifts and our talents and abilities. What audience do I want to serve? And when we know that specific audience, we know that it's going to match what we love to do, the hours we want to work, and the people we want to serve. And then what framework am I going to use in order to do that? Everything else in your business revolves around those three questions and answering them really well. Because if you're answering those questions the way someone else is thinking that you should or telling you that you should, then you're going to have that misaligned business, and it's going to be like that magnet repelling each other, and you're always going to be fighting against it. But when you get clear on those three questions, super, super clear, what problem do I solve? Who do I solve it for? What's my audience? And what framework am I going to use? Then you can create that really, really solid business model. And I love to help people do this because I do think that it can be a challenge, especially if you've never started a business before, if you have never, used your talents and abilities in this way, volunteering at church or in your job. This is something new. You need help. You wouldn't have a baby on your own. You would hire a midwife or a doctor to help you do that. The first time that you do something, you want someone to be there with you. You wouldn't go into homeschooling without getting some support and some help, or a coach, or hiring a program that can help you structure your homeschooling. You wouldn't do any of those things on your own entirely. You would get some help. It's the same thing with business. And that's what I love to help people do. I love to help people start or sometimes pivot their business in order to match their gifts and abilities and build a business that actually works for them. I love to help people see what they're good at and build a business off of that. Just like I mentioned, my one client who I helped her see that building a community and nurturing that community was really in her gift set, and how she could build a business that would make money for her using that. Another way that I've done that is by helping someone, a client in my program that is really, really good at networking and bringing people together. And she had this really great offer, but she was only offering it one time per year, which was great. It was a year-long program, 12 months out of the year. But I helped her see how she could start doing mini launches throughout the year. I call them power promos throughout the year, small promos that could actually get her more consistent income over the course of the year, instead of in just that one big shot when she opened up her program once a year. I love to help people do that. I love to help them see the possibilities of what they can do, what God's inviting them into, and turn that into a business that serves other people and makes money online. My name, if you didn't catch it at the beginning, I don't think I said it, is Sarah. I am a Christian business coach. I love to help people take what is complicated and overwhelming to them in their business and move it into a strategic, actionable, step-by-step plan to follow. Because when we have a plan to follow, then we get the right work done. And so this month only, if you're watching this in the future, this is August of 2023, I have a very special new offer that I have found from my program works really, really well to help people do this, to get their businesses started aligned with themselves, how to build their business around them and their skills and abilities. And it's called the Discovery Spotlight. And until Saturday night, which is August 20th, 2023, I am offering a special offer with the Discovery Spotlight, but it's only available until Saturday night. And that is a 30-day one-on-one intensive VIP package where you get a 60-minute call. That's a roadmap call at the beginning to help you map out what we're going to do over the next 30 days. We dive deeply into your business, or we dive deeply into starting your business. And then you get Voxer Access to Me, which is a private messaging app where we can talk back and forth in real time during the week so that you get your questions answered right away. You don't have to wait another couple of weeks to get them answered on a Q&A call. And I can give you that support that you need in real time. And then you also get a 60-minute strategic action plan call at the end so that you know what you should be doing for the next 30 or 60 days. So this intensive Discovery Spotlight really sets you up for success for now through the end of the year. And for this week only, I'm also offering access to my Facebook group from my Do the Right Work membership site. And that Facebook group gets you access to 3 phone calls, 2 coaching Q&As where you can come on and be supported with other women that are in the program. And it also gets you a digging deeper call once a month, which actually is following right after this training. I do a training for the ladies in my group, in my program, on one topic, digging deeply into one topic. We've talked about chat gpt, emails, organizing your time, frameworks, funnels, all the things that you need to know about in your business. So I do a short training, and then I also have a Q&A on that so that we can talk specifically about that for your business. So you get all of that with the Discovery Spotlight, 2 60-minute phone calls, 30 days of Voxer access with me, as well as access right now to that Facebook group so that you can get access to additional resources to help you in your business. I love to do this. I love to create a custom program, a custom strategic plan for you in your business, but it's only available till Saturday night. So I will drop the link below if you would like to join me for that. And I love answering questions. So if you're watching this in the future, be sure to drop your questions below. You can always drop them in my call to action Facebook group, and I would love to answer them for you. So I hope you have a great day and that you feel empowered to build a business around you and what God is calling you to do.